Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari Gopi Jana Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari 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 Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Chapter 2, Text 18. I'll read the first line and please repeat after that. Param Padam Vaishnavam Amanatita.
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 Yaneti Neti Yata Utshrivikshavaha.
Yanati Neti Atat Utsishkrishava.
Yaneti Neti Yata Utshrivikshavaha.
Yanati Nati Atat Utsishkrishava.
Yaneti Neti Yata Utshrivikshavaha.
Yanati Nati Atat Utsishkrishava.
Vishraja Dratratnyam Ananya Shoridha.
Vishraja Duratmayam Ananya Shoridha.
Vishraja Duratnyam Ananya Shoridha.
Vishraja Duratmayam Ananya Shoridha.
Vishraja Duratnyam Ananya Shoridha.
Vishraja Duratnyam Ananya Shoridha.
Ridopa Guyarha Param Pade Pade.
Ridopa Guyatam Padam Pade Pade.
Ridopa Guyarha Padam Pade Pade.
Ridopa Padam Pade Pade.
Ridopa Yarha Padam Pade Pade.
Ridopa Guyatam Padam Pade Pade.
So we'll go through this 3 times, all the way through, or do we start now? We go ahead and start individually.
Param Padam Vaishnavam Atmanantitat. Param Padam Vaishnavam Atmanantitat. Yaneti Neti Etat Utshava. Yaneti Neti Atat Utshkrita Sabha. Vrishja Duramya Anya Saurita. Vrishja Duramyam Anya Saurita. Vridopagu Yarta Padam Pade Pade. Vridopagu Yarta Padam Pade Pade. Param Padam Vaishnavam Amanantita. Param Padam Vaishnavam Atmanantita. Yaneti Neti Yatat Utshishkrit Savaha. Yaneti Neti Etat Vaishriksavaha. Vishirja Duratmayam Ananya Shoridha. Vishirja Duratnyam Anya Shoridha. Ridopagu Yartha Param Pade Pade. Ridopagu Yartha Padam Pade Pade.
Param Padam Vaishnavam Amanantika.
Param Padam Vaishnavam Amanantita.
Yaneti Neti Jatat Utshriksava.
Yaneti Neti Atat Utshriksava. Vrishja Duratnyam Ananya Saurita. Vido Bhaguyarta Padam Pade Pade.
Mataji, anybody? Okay, please repeat word for word. Padam,
Padam,
the supreme.
the supreme.
Padam,
Padam,
situation.
situation.
Vaishnavam,
Vaishnavam,
in relation with the personality of Godhead.
in relation to the personality of Godhead.
Amananti,
Amananti,
do they know?
do they know?
Tat,
Tat,
that.
that.
Yat,
Which.
na iti,
Not iti,
not this.
not this.
Na iti,
Not iti,
not this.
not this.
Iti,
Iti,
thus.
thus.
Tat,
Etat,
tat,
atat,
goddess.
goddess.
Vishwishwishwaha,
Vishvishvishvaha,
those who desire to avoid.
those who desire to avoid.
Vishwaja,
Vishvaja,
giving it up completely.
giving it up completely.
Rakyam yam,
Nyam nyam,
perplexities.
perplexities.
Ananya,
Ananya,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Suridaha,
Vidaha,
in goodwill.
goodwill.
Rida,
Vida,
upagaya,
upagaya,
taking them into his heart. Arha, that which is only worshipable.
that is only worshipable.
Padam,
Padam,
lotus feet.
the lotus feet.
Pade, pade,
Pade, pade,
at every moment.
at every moment.
Translation. The transcendentalists desire to avoid godless, everything godless, for they know that supreme situation in which everything is related with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities, but worships the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart. Please repeat. Translation. The transcendentalists
The transcendentalists
desire to avoid everything godless,
try to avoid everything godless,
for they know that supreme situation
for they know that supreme situation
in which everything is related
in which everything is related
with the Supreme Lord Vishnu.
to the Supreme Lord Vishnu.
Therefore,
Therefore,
a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony
a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony
with the Lord
with the Lord
does not create perplexities,
does not create perplexity,
but worships the lotus feet of the Lord
but worships the lotus feet of the Lord
at every moment,
at every moment,
taking them into his heart.
taking them into his heart.
Does anybody want me to repeat that translation? The transcendentalists desire to avoid everything godless, for they know that supreme situation in which everything is related with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities, but worships the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the Bhagavad Gita, Mad Dhamma, my abode, is mentioned several times. And according to the version of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, there exists the unlimited spiritual sky, wherein the planets are called Vaikunthas, or the abode of the Personality of Godhead. In that sky, which is far, far beyond the material sky, and is sevenfold coverings, there is no need of the sun or the moon, nor is there necessity of electricity for illumination, because the planets are self-illuminating and more brilliant than the material suns. Pure devotees of the Lord are absolutely in harmony with the personality of Godhead, or in other words, They always think of the Lord as their only dependable friend and well-wisher. They do not care for any mundane creature up to the status of Brahma, the Lord of the universe. Only they can definitely have a clear vision of the Vaikuntha planets. Such pure devotees, being perfectly directed by the Supreme Lord, do not create any artificial perplexity in the matter of transcendental understanding by wasting time in discussing what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, non-Brahman, or Maya. Nor do they falsely think of themselves as one with the Lord, or argue that there is no existence of the Lord separately, or that there is no God at all, or that living beings are themselves God, or that when God incarnates himself, he assumes a material body. Nor do they concern themselves with many obscure speculative theories, which are in actuality so many stumbling blocks on the path of transcendental understanding. Apart from the class of impersonalists or non-devotees, there are also classes who pose themselves as devotees of the Lord, but at heart maintain the idea of salvation by becoming one with the impersonal Brahman. They wrongly manufacture their own way of devotional service by open debauchery and mislead others who are simpletons or debauchees like themselves. All these non-devotees and debauchees are, according to Vishwanath Chakrabarti, Duratmas, or crooked souls, in the dress of Mahatmas, or great souls. Such non-devotees and debauchees are completely excluded from the list of transcendentalists by the presentation of this particular verse by Shukdev Goswami. So the Vaikuntha planets are factually the supreme residential places called the Param Padam. The impersonal Brahmajyoti is also called the Param Padam due to its being the rays of the Vaikuntha planets, as the sun rays are the rays of the sun. In the Bhagavad Gita 14.27, it is clearly said that the impersonal Brahmajyoti rests on the person of the Lord, and because everything rests on the Brahmajyoti directly and indirectly, everything is generated from the Lord. Everything rests on him, and after annihilation, everything is merged in him only. Uh, 1427. Brahmano hi pratishthataham. Translation: I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness, and which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. Again, that verse was, I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness, and which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. Therefore, nothing is independent of him. A pure devotee of the Lord no longer wastes valuable time in discriminating the Brahman from non-Brahman, because he knows perfectly well that the Lord, Para-Brahman, by his Brahman energy, is interwoven in everything, and thus everything is looked upon by a devotee as a property of the Lord. The devotee tries to engage everything in his service and does not create perplexities by falsely lording over the creation of the Lord. He is so faithful that he engages himself, as well as everything else, in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In everything, the devotee sees the Lord, and he sees everything in the Lord. The specific disturbance created by a Duratma, or crooked soul, is due to his maintaining that the transcendental form of the Lord is something material. Translation: the transcendentalists desire to avoid everything godless. for they know that supreme situation in which everything is related with the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities, but worships the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart. Just like, a machine, everything about a machine exists for the purpose of that machine, the function of that machine. If one screw falls out, it might diminish the performance of the machine a little bit. That's mundane. But of course, if we fall away from Krishna, it doesn't diminish Krishna at all. But, if we fall away and we roll away from the machine, we're laying out there all by ourselves, we're not really serving a purpose anymore. And we don't feel like we're serving a purpose. The poor little screw is laying out there all by itself on the floor, It has a purpose. It really does. But due to whatever problem, the vibration or whatever problem it had, it became loose from the machine. It was no longer part of the whole, So just like that, inconceivably, we're simultaneously one with the Lord and yet different. Inconceivably, simultaneously, we're one with the Lord, but we're also, independent. Not really independent, but seemingly independent. It's inconceivable that for us to understand that, but that's Lochitani's philosophy. Chincha Beta Beta Tapa. So, the purport in the Bhagavad Gita, Mad Dhamma, my abode, is mentioned several times, and according to the version of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, there exists the unlimited spiritual sky, wherein the planets are called Vaikunthas, or the abode of the Personality of Godhead. In that sky, which is far, far beyond the material sky, and its sevenfold coverings, there is no need of the sun or the moon, nor is there necessity of electricity for illumination, because the planets are self-illuminating and more brilliant than the material suns. Pure devotees of the Lord are absolutely in harmony with the Personality of Godhead, or in other words, they always think of the Lord as their only dependable friend and well-wisher. I never have been in Prabhu's personal association, but we all know that when you're within that atmosphere of that pure devotee, that you're in the bubble, Prabhupada, of a pure devotee. And you feel relaxed, you don't feel threatened, you feel transcendental, you feel protected. And, you're waiting for mercy. Prabhupada said we should always be expecting the mercy of Krishna. And we know it's happening all around us, with the pure devotee. So, like a sponge, one who's not a crooked soul, one who's a transcendentalist, but more than just being a transcendentalist, but one who's a devotee, a Vaishnava, he's always looking for the mercy of his God brothers, and the Parampara and the Shastras. So like a sponge, we're always trying to soak up the nectar wherever we can get it. And we never know who we may learn something from today and tomorrow and the next day. We can learn so much from the devotees. We never know who Krishna is going to speak through to help bless us with some understanding, in devotional service. They do not care for any mundane creature up to the status of Brahma, the Lord of the universe, only that they can definitely have a clear vision of the Vaikuntha planets. Only they can definitely have a clear vision of the Vaikuntha planets. Such pure devotees, being perfectly directed by the Supreme Lord, do not create any artificial perplexity in the matter of transcendental understanding by wasting time in discussing what is Brahman, what is non-Brahman, or Maya, nor do they falsely think themselves as one with the Lord. There's a whole list of things here. There's a whole list of things, when you go out there preaching to so many different people, as soon as they start dwelling into their nonsense, it's like, You want to walk away. You tune them out, of course, but you pretend like you're listening maybe for a while at least. But just like the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, once you become enlightened and everything, you become basically oblivious from everything that has been heard, everything that will be heard. And all you're really interested in is tuning into that station on Krishna radio, tuning into that vibration. It's like a tuning fork, when it's perfectly tuned, it sounds wonderful. It's a vibration, So we're tuning ourselves into Krishna by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, by the grace of our Guru. We know we can't make any advancement without the grace of our spiritual master. By the grace of the spiritual master, one gets the blessings of Krishna. And of course, by the blessings of Krishna, one gets the genuine spiritual master. So there's a whole list of things here. Nor do they falsely think of themselves as one with the Lord, or argue that there is no existence of the Lord. I like to quote him that one verse. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachate Purnashana Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishate. When they say that they're, one with the Lord, and say, well, yeah, you're not actually wrong about that. I can quote the English, but I like to get it exactly. It's so beautiful. Every word correct. The personality of God is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as a complete whole. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete by itself. And because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains a complete balance. So here, that's a verse we quote to them, and they can't disagree. They like it. Usually when you quote it to them, they like it. They like the sound, like how you kind of sing it to them, And then, it's, oh yeah, feels good. I can say that, I'm a transcendental meditator. And I say, well, we don't cheat you. We don't just give you Om. We give you everything that comes behind it as well. We fill in all the blanks, all the questions you have, Om Pranam Mada Pranam Idam. It's just so beautiful, So the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And then we say that they're a part of that completeness and perfection. So how can they argue with that, when they're saying that, as Prabhu mentioned, that they're one with God, and everything. And the more you agree with them in the beginning, the more they're inclined to listen. They want to be told that, I'll spend my whole life gathering all this information. And how can you tell me that I'm not worth anything? It's like an insult. So you say, actually you're right, It's true, it says in the ancient Vedas, Om Pranam Mada Pranam, and it's just like, you melt, And it's, and there's so many beautiful verses like that in the Vedas, that say that, you are a child of God, and the Lord wants to share his kingdom with you, and Jesus Christ said, you are all sons of God. Greater works than these shall you do also. I have much yet to tell you, but your ears cannot be articulate, So, how can you, that really boosts them up. They're a son of God, And as Jesus always said, God, our Father, who art in heaven. So that means you're a child. We're all children of one Father, So why do we have world wars? There shouldn't be world wars. So much. Although this is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, so we expect it to happen, and it does. The age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the Iron Age, and Prabhupada says it's due to a poor fund of knowledge. They're not knowledgeable, and where do they get the knowledge? They don't know where to get the knowledge. I think some of them would search it out if they really knew. But then the ego can also get in the way. The more knowledge you gather, the bigger the ego gets. If you've been around a lot of professors, like this religion thing they do every year, it's a convention. I guess they usually hold it in Atlanta. And it's, I went to one year with Suradas, and it lasted the whole weekend. It was really wonderful. But the professors, they're all they're bursting with knowledge, but you get to talk to them too, and you can tell some of them are kind of too much knowledge. You can tell. When they talk to us, they come over and they get some burfi, Mahaprasad. Every year they know that he's there, so they come and get some Mahaprasad. And when they come around our stand, they're usually very mellow, because year after year they've been coming, and they feel very relaxed, and we can talk to them, But the karmis, they do desire for Vaikuntha, which means freedom from anxiety. Someone else may have another interpretation of what it means, free from anxiety, Vaikuntha, right? So, the number one song of all movies is Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Way Up High. There was a land that I dreamed of once in a lullaby, So, somewhere where bluebirds fly over the rainbow, If they can fly over the rainbow, why can't I, And something about a place where troubles melt away like lemon drops above the chimney tops, That's Vaikuntha, We all dream of a place like that. And it was voted number one song out of all movie songs. Number one. And even in military, going to war, I don't know which armies were, obviously American, I guess, they'd be singing that song, because it inspired them. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Well, I think it's partly or what? Maybe Bhaktisiddhanta said that the more they become educated, the more they bray like asses. The people, you mentioned at this convention, so by the prasadam, they come and take the prasadam. Do you find that when you were there, were they amenable to, hearing?
They were very, very tranquil.
Really?
Yeah, very tranquil. Oh, you would love it, yeah. I just got lucky to be able to do that.
It's a book display? Is that what it is?
I forgot what it's called, for years I remember the name of it. But, it's all, we have our own Bhagavatam Book Trust. He's representing Bhagavatam Book Trust. Big, fancy display, lights, everything. And then, of course, they're publishers of religious literature, and the professors all come too. And all the companies are there, publishers of different religious literatures are there.
And New Age things?
I'm not sure. Everything's there. It takes up a whole bottom floor of where they have shows, the whole area.
Right.
And they have a cafeteria there as well. Pretty fascinating. And it's always tempting because you'll see some really interesting books, and some are either really at a discounted price, you know what I mean? And then you meet devotees who have published their own works, or be walking through there maybe, and you'll meet them, and something's going on, and this and that's going on. Big universities, Harvard, Yale, different ones are there. It's they know about the burfi every year. There's a big old bowl of burfi, or sheets, whatever. But usually it's like a bowl. A burfi.
Does the Alliance Temple provide that, or Sura comes with it?
Sura is in charge of it. I'm not sure how he Bhagavatam Book Trust probably pays for it. I don't know. But it was a wonderful experience. I fully enjoyed that. It was really nice being out there with Suradas back with the books again, distributing the books. Yeah.
So they're trying to sell to the universities, or they're just... Is it open to the public, or is it just for academics?
No, it's all professors. They're all professionals. Yeah.
Which place is this?
Maji, I wish I could remember the professional name, but I can't remember it right now. But it was in Atlanta, and maybe that's where they hold it each year. It was at it might have been the Hyatt Regency, maybe, I'm not sure. But Suridas in Los Angeles, Bhagavatam Book Trust.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does it every year. He's been doing it for years.
What exactly is being done there?
Professors, mostly it's professors. Your crowd is mostly professors milling around and checking out each of the publishers. They're all set up all through the whole complex. And I suppose they're looking for, because the colleges are all there, all the colleges are there. There's all kinds of printers are there, colleges are all there, professors are all there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure all their connections, but they're there selling books. The books are on sale, Mm-hmm. And like I said, I met a few devotees who actually have their own books that they had published, and they were also walking through there.
Mm-hmm.
And even the big books, I'm talking about the ones with fold-out coffee table books. We had one right in front, like that. And some of the professors, different people, even purchase that kind of book and maybe have it shipped to them or something like that.
So basically it's a convention where both devotees and non-devotees can come.
Well, there were only, technically speaking, there were only 3 of us devotees at the Bhagavatam Book Trust display table. Mm-hmm. And we had CDs, we had DVDs, I guess. We had all kinds of books,
This was before Kindle.
Kindle.
You're
right.
The Book Trust, do they have books on?
Well, to come to think of it, I didn't realize it, but this is probably 7, maybe 8 years ago.
I wonder if they have books on Kindle. Did that take off, or did it fizzle? Does anybody know?
What's that?
The Kindle trend, having books on...
No, it's still there.
I have it on mine.
People buy books online like that and read it on Kindle. It's very much there.
Still happening.
Yeah.
But
some authors just decide to publish like that also. Instead of going in for the hard copy, they just prefer to do it like that, make an online copy available that people can just pay for. That reduces all the printing costs and, all the costs of actually making a hard copy. Some people prefer to publish like that.
Okay, Prabhuji's and my masters. Just Nirjala Ekadasi, I've got just enough time to read these few pages.
Oh, wonderful. Please read.
Nirjala Ekadasi. Reading from Ekadashi Mahatmya, the glories of Ekadasi. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Jaya Taha. Srila Vyasadeva. Okay. Chapter 14, Nirjala Ekadasi. The description of Nirjala Ekadasi, which occurs during the month of May-June, is found in the Brahma Varta Purana, in the conversation between Vyasadeva and Bhimasena. Once Bhimasena, the younger brother of Yudhisthira, inquired from the great sage Srila Vyasadeva, O most learned and worshipable grandfather, please hear my request. My elder brother Yudhisthira, mother Kunti Devi, brothers Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadeva, and Draupadi do not eat anything on the day of Ekadasi. They, especially Yudhisthira, always tell me that I should also fast on Ekadasi. But should I say Ekadashi or Ekadasi?
Ekadashi.
Ekadashi, okay. Seems like I keep hearing people say Ekadashi. They, especially Yudhisthira, always tell me that I should also fast on Ekadashi. There it is, I see it now. But I always tell them that though I know that to fast on Ekadashi is an injunction of the scriptures. I cannot bear my hunger, and therefore I am unable to fast. I can give in charity as per my capacity. I can worship Lord Keshava with proper rules and regulations, but I cannot fast. So please instruct me, how can I obtain the result of Ekadashi without having to fast? End quote. On hearing these words of Bhimasena, Sri Vyasadeva said, O Bhima, if you want to go to the heavenly planets and avoid the hellish planets, then you must refrain from eating on both the Ekadashis of each month. Wow. On hearing these words of Bhimasena, Sri Vyasadeva said, O Bhima, if you want to go to the heavenly planets and avoid the hellish planets, then you must refrain from eating on both the Ekadashis of each month. End quote. Bhima said, O great sage! It is impossible for me to observe fast on 24 Ekadashis every year, as instructed by the Lord. What to speak of fasting day and night? I cannot even tolerate my hunger for even a moment. The fire of hunger, known as brika, is always present within my stomach, and it is extinguished only by voracious eating. But with great endeavor, I can fast only one day in a year. Therefore, please instruct me about a vow that I can follow to attain auspiciousness both in this life and the next. End quote. Sri Vyasadeva said, O king, you have already heard from me about the Vedic religious principles and the duties of the human beings. But in this age of Kali, not everyone is capable of following those rules and regulations. Therefore, I will tell you about a sublime method by which you can achieve great results. This method is the essence of all the Puranas. Anyone who observes the Ekadashis of waning and waxing moons by fasting never goes to hell. End quote. Hearing Vyasadeva's words, that strongest warrior, Bhimasena, became frightened and shivered like a leaf on a banyan tree and said, "Oh, grandfather, what should I do? I'm totally unable to fast twice a month throughout the year. Therefore, O my Lord, kindly instruct me about one vow that awards the most merit, and how by observing it I can achieve all benefits." Then Sri Vyasadeva replied, "The Ekadashi, which occurs during the waxing moon in the month of May-June, during the sun's presence in either Taurus or Gemini Rasi, is called Nirjal Ekadashi. One should observe the total fast even from drinking water in this Ekadashi. On this day, one should perform Achman for purification by drinking that amount of water in which a single mustard seed or a drop of gold can be immersed. One should place the said amount of water in his palm, held in such a way as to resemble a cow's ear. If one drinks more or less water than this, it will amount to drinking of wine. One must not eat anything at all on this Ekadashi, otherwise his vow will be broken. One should not drink even water from the movement of sunrise from the day of Ekadashi until the sunrise on the day of Dwadasi. In this way, if one strictly observes this Ekadashi without drinking water, then he can attain the results of observing all the Ekadashis of the year. In the early morning on the day of Dwadasi, one should take bath and give gold and water in charity to the Brahmanas. Thereafter, the follower should gladly eat with the Brahmanas. O Bhimasena, now please hear about the piety one accumulates by observing this Ekadashi. By following this Ekadashi, one can achieve the result of following all the Ekadashis throughout the year. Once Lord Vishnu, who holds a conch, a disc, a club, and a lotus flower in his hand, told me, Quote, if a person gives up all varieties of religion and surrenders unto me, and follows this Nirjala Ekadasi, which is very dear to me, he is certainly relieved of all sinful reactions. One cannot attain the supreme destination by giving wealth and charity or attain any benefit by following the smarta rules and regulations in the Kali Yuga. In fact, the Vedic religious principles have been extinct in this age of Kali, which is polluted with various faults. In fact, the Vedic religious principles have been extinct in this age of Kali, which is polluted with various faults. O son of Vayu, what more can I tell you? Eating is actually prohibited on all the Ekadashis, and even the drinking water is prohibited on Nirjala Ekadashi. By observing this Ekadashi, one achieves the piety of visiting all the holy places. At the time of death, such a person is not approached by the fierce-looking Yamadutas. Rather, he is approached by the divine-looking Vishnudutas to be transferred to the abode of Vishnu. If one gives water and cows in charity after observing this Ekadashi, then he is freed from all his sinful activities. When the other Pandavas heard about the glories of this Ekadashi, they resolved to observe it. From that day onward, Bhimasena began observing this Nirjala Ekadasi, which became famous as Pandava Nirjala, or Bhimasena Ekadashi. By following this Ekadashi, sinful activities as huge as Sumeru or Mandar mountain are at once burned to ashes. O King, Lord Krishna has declared that any pious activities such as taking bath in holy places, giving charity, chanting Vedic mantras, and performing sacrifices that are carried out on this Nirjala Ekadashi day become inexhaustible. One who reads or hears the glories of this Ekadashi with devotion goes back to the abode of Vaikuntha.
Haribol.
One who reads or hears the glories of Ekadashi with devotion goes back to the abode of Vaikuntha. The result one attains by observing the vow of Amavasya, conjoined with Pratipada and offering oblations to the forefathers during a solar eclipse, is attained simply by hearing the glories of this Ekadashi. So, most of us can't give in charity, but it said back here, said that Lord Krishna has declared that any pious activities such as taking bath in holy places, giving charity, chanting Vedic mantras, and performing sacrifices that are carried out on this Nirjala Ekadasi day become inexhaustible. So even if you give a little charity, I can always give a little charity, it becomes inexhaustible on this day.
Haribol.
That's what I'm thinking of this. Yeah. Okay, all glories to Nirjala Ekadasi, all glories to simple devotees, all glories to Shri Gauranitai, Shri Bhagavatam, glories to Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anybody else have comments? I want to share anything.
I want to apologize for coming late for the class. Please forgive me.
Well, you got your time to give out Nirjala.
That's a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you for blessing us with your association, Manji.
Oh my gosh, a rascal like me.